Good evening, and welcome to the commemorative area of the Australian War Memorial for this special last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and shortly a current serving member of the Australian Defence Force will read tonight's story. We would like to acknowledge the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of the RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who continue to watch this broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Now we will hear the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century.
Good evening, my name is Lieutenant Commander Phil Byewaters and I am currently serving in the Royal Australian Navy. Today we remember and pay tribute to Sergeant Louis McNamara, who died while fighting in France during the First World War. Louis McNamara was born in 1887, one of 4 children of David and Emma McNamara of Medindi, Adelaide. Having received an early education from his father, in 1901, McNamara won the Elder Entrance Scholarship to Prince Alfred College, where he gained the Colton Medal for Chemistry. After winning the Old Scholars Prize and Angus Engineering Exhibition, he gained entry into Adelaide University as a student of electrical engineering. After graduating with first-class honours in 1909, McNamara subsequently received a diploma in applied science and was granted an associateship from the School of Mines. He worked as an electrical engineer for the Adelaide Underwriters and was an elder Smith & Co. Electrical Company when war broke out in 1914. McNamara was also an active participant of the choir at St. Luke's Cathedral and the Honourable Secretary of the Australian Forest League. He was a member of the South Australian College Cadet Battalion and an active member of the Adelaide Rifle Club. McNamara enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in August 1914 and after a period of training embarked with the 1st Troopship Convoy in September 1914 as an original member of the 3rd Field Company Engineers. The following months were spent training at Mina Camp near Cairo. McNamara landed at Anzac Cove on the 25th of April 1915 and spent 4 months on Gallipoli before being evacuated to England with enteric fever. McNamara did not return to his unit until June 1916, after the Australians had transferred to the fighting on the Western Front. He fought at Pozières and Mouquet Farm, and in October transferred to the 1 Anzac Corps Wireless Section, which installed, maintained and operated wireless telecommunications equipment that allowed headquarters to be in communication with the divisions in the field. In 1917, McNamara was at a position near Grivouille where he personally installed a power buzzer in that village when it was under constant shell fire. Several days later, near Lagnicourt, McNamara was the operator who attempted to establish wire communication with the front line during the 7th Brigade's attack. He was recommended for a military medal for his actions, and it read, "This sapper has done excellent work in the field since last November. From the first time he was a volunteer for carrying a power buzzer forward in advance, he has usually managed to be in the most dangerous corners with either a power buzzer, amplifier, or listening post." In June 1917, McNamara transferred to the 1st Division Signal Company, where his expertise in electrical engineering was well suited to the cable-based telecommunications system employed by the British Army at the time. In Belgium, in January 1918, he suffered severe burns from a German gas shell that left him temporarily blinded and required his evacuation to England. Returning to France, he was promoted to sergeant, just as the German army launched its spring offensive on the Somme. By September 1918, the Australians had successfully pushed the German army back towards the Hindenburg Line, the last line of resistance in France. On the 18th of September, McNamara was mortally wounded in the head and leg by a German shell as he went forward to mend a break in the signalling wire. He was evacuated to a nearby casualty clearance station but succumbed to his wounds later that day. He was buried in the civilian cemetery at Bouet, although his remains were later reinterred at Cerisy-Gailly French National Cemetery. A small epitaph on his headstone reads, "He died as he lived, faithful to duty." He was 31 years old. Sergeant McNamara's name is listed on the Roll of Honour among almost 62,000 others from the First World War. This is just one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Louis McNamara, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and the hope of a better world. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for watching and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.